Welcome to Rugby Tonight, the best bits. We've got another great show lined up for you as we're joined in the studio by Wales Lions Northampton wing George North and Made in Chelsea's Jamie Laing. And we have the usual insight and analysis from Brian O'Driscoll, Lawrence Dallaglio, Austin Healey and the team. Enjoy. Give us an idea of what it was like through the campaign as people just kept falling around you.
Yeah, pretty difficult if I'm honest, because everyone knows pre-season's a tough time. You got to try and keep yourself in one piece and try and get through it. But every week, one more seemed to drop off and sort of get injured. And it was a bit strange to start with, but then obviously towards the end, it was getting a bit scary, really, how many injuries we had. But considering that, the boys they sort of dug deep and we had a good result.
What were the guys saying in the squad then? It sort of galvanised you, did it? It made you play better, even scrum halves playing on the wing. Whatever next?
Yeah, that could be a second row, couldn't I, really?
Keep away.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, isn't it? You sort of do that whole sort of camp together, the hard work, hard graft, and you think, oh, I've come this far now. You might as well just throw everything at it now, knowing that, we've got nothing else to lose, really.
Brian, is it something that always happens after a World Cup? There's a bit of a World Cup hangover. It just takes a while for guys' brains to switch from a World Cup to the rigours of a Premiership.
There can be, because at the end of the previous season, you're looking forward to that World Cup, and then you have that whole focus, and you haven't been with your club for, most people haven't been with their club for that pre-season at all, and then all of a sudden you either win it, very few teams do that, or you're out. So there's a disappointment to deal with. So it's almost as if there's a mourning period before you can kind of get yourself up again and look forward to the rest of your season.
I think the onus is actually on the guys who haven't been at the World Cup. And I think in the Premiership, those guys have only played 3 games. They've had a really long pre-season training, and they've only just played. They've been waiting to start the season. I don't think you can rely on your internationals actually to lift the energy. I think it's the players who get left behind who aren't at World Cup duty who need to kick-start the season.
This is the Saracen squad. Let's have a quick look at this. So that's the Saracen squad. So significantly more players away with the World Cup. But also, you got a feeling why they've been able to cope.
I think they've got a slightly bigger squad. They're more used to rotation, so maybe they're used to coming in and playing to a framework. And as we saw from the weekend, they got the job done, didn't they? Where do you stand on Sam Burgess? And I don't mean physically.
Towering over him.
Yeah. Obviously, to change code like that is obviously a massive challenge. I personally think he was given enough time to really learn his trade, as you mentioned earlier, where you play in 6 or 12 is kind of a massive different role, and I think to learn that you have to give him time, and I don't think he had enough time really.
Was that his choice, though? Do you think? Do you say it's his choice to leave? So are we saying that he wasn't given enough opportunity, which I don't think is really the case.
No, I think he was definitely given enough opportunity. He was thrown in the deep end, and I don't know whether he was able to swim enough to warrant a World Cup place. Retrospectively looking at that World Cup. Having said that, we talked about it last week. I think 6 was his position. He was going to have to invest another year and a half to become a world-class 6, which I thought he was capable of doing. But instead, he's gone back into a role that he's fully comfortable with. And one that seems absolutely seamless to him, and he gets to hang out with his family and his mum. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can understand, if you're not enjoying it, then why hang around?
Yep.
Go back. And, Lawrence, people are saying they're blaming him, they're blaming Bath, they're blaming England. Surely the blame rests mainly at the door of England, at the selectors, the way it was handled.
Yeah, listen, I think we get it out there straight away that England didn't lose the World Cup because of Sam Burgess and because of that selection. But, to expect a guy who's never played a sport, never played in that position, to come straight in on the back of, a few decent matches and go straight into a Rugby World Cup squad is a huge ask. And I think I agree that 12 months down the line, if you pick one position, you're stuck with it, put a bit of work in there, he could have possibly made it. And I think when we brought Sam Burgess over, I thought it was looking ahead to sort of 2 or 3 years' time, rather than just parachuting him straight into that World Cup squad. So no, I mean the likes of Wales must have been having a little chuckle to themselves, thinking, are they really going to pick this bloke?
Argentina are going to be playing the Barbarians. Michael Cheika is going to be coaching the Barbarians. The RFU have said, Lawrence, that there has been no official approach. So we won't pursue that, but we'll pursue instead the idea of a Michael Cheika type person. And the reason it would appear Australia performed so well in the World Cup was because he let their players express themselves and play to their normal characteristics. You could argue that England were a little bit hampered, straitjacketed. Is a Michael Cheika type person who England should be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, you want someone who's got experience of coaching. That helps. I believe. We picked a couple of people in the past that haven't got that, and clearly it's not gone well. So Michael Checker's a winner. You know, he's been coaching not just in Australia, but in different parts of the world. And I think when you're addressing players, you know, even if they don't know you, they believe you because you come from that winning culture. So Michael Checker, I'd be very surprised if, even if England had or hadn't talked to him, whether he decides after 12 months that he's going to leave the second best side in the world and come and coach England. I think he's on a journey with Australia. But look, England have to pick the very best coach, and that, you know, at this moment in time might be from outside of the British Isles.
And the worrying thing is, of course, if he had been drinking with Jason Leonard, he would not remember that conversation.
or signing the contract.
I suspect Jason's probably had a pipe with every single international coach at the World Rugby Awards. At least I hope so.
I will be terrified if the future of English coaching rests on contact in Jason Leonard's book. That would be absolutely terrifying. Well, no doubt, Austin, what your highlight of the weekend was, you let everyone watching the Wasps-Gloucester game know what it was. We all loved Christian Wade's try, but you took it to another level. Remember this?
Good chase from Hook. But Jackson doing enough. And here goes Wade. A little bit of help from Piutau. Nice line cut by Daly. Brilliant from Daly. And back it goes to Wade. First of the season for Christian Wade. Yeehaw!
Well done, Woody. You should be wearing his shirt.
Well, it's a bit of broke mountain for that. But do you know what it was? It was just a simple fact. I've watched all 24 games so far this season, and I honestly think that the standard has been terrible so far. Some of the individual skill levels, and it's a bit of a sweeping statement. There has been some moments of brilliance, but on the whole, we haven't seen sides attack space, attack gaps, and that was the first time we'd seen a side just play what was in front of them, not play what they've been told, not do something that was written on a board on the week leading up to it, play what they see. And it came from young, exciting players that Wasps have. And if you're that young, exciting player, and, you know, Drick will be the same when he was younger as well, and you play in that back line, and same for George, you want to touch the ball, you want to get that opportunity, and we're not giving these players enough opportunity to do that. That's why I got so excited.
Lawrence, it's almost, as we mentioned earlier, it's almost like they've potentially hit the reset button for these young players. Many people saying they should have gone to the World Cup, should have been in the squad. Elliot Daly was one such player. Christian Wade grabs the headlines with that try, but Elliot Daly, what a performance from him. 3 penalties, averaging over 150 metres if you had a...
Well, this is an additional bonus in his game, isn't it? That he can just smash them over from everywhere. But he was unlucky to miss out on that World Cup selection. But as far as I'm concerned, at the beginning of every season, particularly after a World Cup, in the way that England have performed, the slate is wiped clean. You know, every player, you know, selection is now up for grabs. You know, if you're an existing player, you've got to go out and play well. If you're a young player now, there's no better time than the opening 6 or 7 rounds of the Premiership to go out and prove that you're worthy of whoever, you know, selects the next England squad.
Well, like you say, there's a lot of players putting their hands up, Daly being one of them, but Kovacic as well. He was up against an old master in the back row, and George Smith. They both had really good games.
Yeah, I mean, George Smith was named man of the match, you know, and he was outstanding. It's like the master against the apprentice, really. But I really like Matt Kovacic. I think what the World Cup has shown is that you do need a genuine open side. You do need someone who can really challenge and make turnovers. You know, and this guy moved from Worcester. He struggled in his first season when he played for Gloucester because their tight 5 were under pressure. But I think that this could be his season where he gets back to where we truly believe he can get. He's got real potential, and I thought he was, you know, despite being in a losing side, was outstanding.
George, do you find when you come back from a World Cup campaign and you rejoin your club, some of the younger guys are there and they say, look, we've carried on playing, you've been away, we've raised our game. They almost want to prove to you that they've taken their game to another level.
Yeah, obviously when you've been away for so long, obviously they're there to sort of settle the ship and keep the sort of standards high. And when you come back, I think it's good to have that competition. You know, it drives the sort of senior boys that have been away, sort of pushes them to go a bit harder, and then obviously it's always going to push a stand up in the squad as well.
Jamie, you're like most, you're an English fan. You've got a lot of rugby inside you. You know, you love the game. What do you make of Chris Robshaw? I mean, there's a lot of talk about him in the press. Is he the right man? We're doing a poll this evening. How do you feel as a fan?
I mean, I'm not the person to judge. I don't think. I think it's a huge pressure to captain any side, especially in a World Cup. I mean, yeah, I don't. You know, I think he's a great player. I think, you know, I do think he, you know, probably made some decisions that didn't go his way and probably didn't go, you know, our way, and probably made some mistakes. But, you know, like I said, there's a lot of pressure to captain a side.
To get your own back on that question, you can now ask Austin about dress sense and the best clubs to go out in. You can have that one, but Lawrence,
I'm quite good at reality TV as well, to be honest.
Lawrence, the interesting thing about Robshaw wearing the number 6 shirt for the first time. Is that significant?
Well, I think Conor O'Shea was trying to support England last year. I think a lot of people who know a little bit about the back row, feel that his best position possibly is at 6 and not at 7. And they picked him at 6. They wouldn't have done that last season because I think it would have put added pressure on him. I think, he and England had a disappointing World Cup. You can't walk away from that. The best way he can respond is to accept all the criticism and just go out there and make you that even more determined to go out there and play well. And he's playing in a winning Harlequin side. Just go out there, play as well as you can. And as I said, when the selection comes up again, you name the team first, and then you worry about who's captain after that.
Well, the slate's clean, as you said. So let's flip it and look at something more positive. And Exeter, Drico, have been a side that you've been watching a lot this year.
Yeah, listen, I never played in the Premiership, but I played against most Premiership teams. And any time I've watched Exeter, I've always been excited by them. I think Rob Baxter's doing a fantastic job there. You get a real sense that it's a villagey feel. What you see over in France with the Toulons and the Clermonts, that everyone gets behind the team. And it's a real focal point for the city. So they've got some real talent coming through now. Steenson obviously had a great game, but Ewers was brilliant in the back row. And Henry Slade, you were banging on about him last year. I was like, is this boy really good? And then I saw a bit of him in the World Cup and in the warm-ups, and he is the real deal. So, with more game time and more exposure, he's going to be class, and he's going to make them a better side.
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching Rugby Tonight, the best bits, and don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.